Okay, in today's little video, I just wanted to share that the comrades and I, we did meet with Marina Burik, the author of the book, A Virtualized World of Capitalism, that I kept on promoting, and I still do highly recommend. We haven't finished the book, we finished part 1, and the author was gracious enough to talk to us. She's very open to talking to the people who appreciate her work, who are Marxists as well. She's a Marxist herself. She's been doing this work for a long time. She's a university professor, so she has a lot of experience working with people. So it was an amazing chance we had to be able to talk to the author directly, to ask questions, to generally talk about capitalism and its virtualized version. But some questions still remain obviously unanswered, just because we will have to be seeking answers ourselves. The times have changed drastically since the Great October Revolution, and we do need to take it into account. The second part we started reading, before I forget, I did ask the author, I did ask Marina Burik about the English translation, because some folks have been requesting it. Unfortunately, at this time, she's unable to pay a professional translator do that. It's pretty expensive to translate professional philosophical works of this caliber. So we'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll be able to come up with something together, do some kind of a collaboration maybe, I don't know. It's not in the books right now, so I'm not going to be able to provide a copy of the English translation of this work, unfortunately. So yeah, but we started reading the second part of the book, and this is where she actually talks about devirtualization, meaning that we need to come out of this virtualized capitalism, because virtualization has become a crutch. The non-capitalist capitalist production has become a crutch to the crumbling behemoth, whatever you want to call it, of capitalism. So it is able to survive, sustain itself. It has slowed the process of the decay, and obviously we don't have time to sit around and wait for capitalism to crumble on its own. So devirtualization, the second part, deals with that. And I'm very happy to see a lot of commonalities, a lot of cross-referencing of various sources. And for a lot of folks, for a lot of cynical bitches out there, this is not gonna sound good, okay? So a lot of people are not going to like the second part. Even some Marxists, they don't like when you appeal to ethos too much, when you appeal to people's morality. Marina Burik is not appealing to morality only, okay? But she is talking about what I would generally refer to as an Aristotelian triangle, but she talks about the 3 cornerstones of the devirtualization process. She talks about actualization through seeking out the truth, through expressing beauty, and through goodness or kindness. So the word is dobro, and this word generally in Russian refers to the good, right? So this is where people may have a little bit of an argument, right, about what does it even mean. And I personally do not subscribe to the good and bad dichotomy. It is always to whom. To me, it matters to whom the goodness is done, but I understand that this is terminology that has been used. Marina Burik is not using this term loosely. She's not just referring to some kind of arbitrary good. She is basing a lot of her work on Hegel and Marx. So the good that she refers to is the good that Hegel and Marx were referring to, mostly Marx, because Hegel was an idealist, he was a Protestant, so he still was limited by his time. Marx was too, but Marx broke out of that idealist cycle and brought to us dialectical materialism, which we can now apply to our little daily lives and see how we can actually benefit personally from these methods. And now I am really happy to see that Marina is talking about self-actualization through the processes of seeking the truth, expressing beauty, and expressing or seeking out the goodness for everyone. I think that this is very important in the Marxist circles to be reminded of the goals, because oftentimes, just as I keep on saying, we get so entangled in the arguments, the terminology, everything, right? It's not even the leftist infighting. It's people's own fragments, people's own issues that talk through them. It is the dialogue with the other, as Lacan was referring to. It is symptomatic of our ailment, of the capitalist ideological ailment. We all have it, unfortunately. So we all want to prove ourselves to be right. And what we should be seeking out instead is the truth. And I keep on saying that the absolute truth, I don't think is possible to achieve. I don't think that we will be able to uncover the full truth. And the main reason is because the truth is going to change, right? Just as I keep on saying, everything changes, everything flows. So it is going to rearrange itself. The substance is going to rearrange itself. We are going to rearrange ourselves. So we're not going to be able to hold on to that constant truth because the truth is not constant. This is why we don't need to care too much, okay? Don't take it twisted. We should not care too much to always agree on every single thing. We're not in some kind of lobster movie, okay? We can have disagreements. We are going to be able to actually find more truth through disagreement. That is if we agree on the basic premises. The basic premises being that human life is above profit. It is above individual interests. So the human life is going to come above all of the other human inventions, human creations, all the other constructs of human culture, human society. Human life is going to be above our own personal interests and our own personal desires. This is my premise. If you don't agree with that premise, then we're not talking, okay? I'm not going to argue semantics, demagogy with you. I'm not a demagogue. So going back to that solution, obviously we've only read the first chapter of the second part, and this is where she gives the overview, right? The overview is that we should be seeking out truth, beauty, and goodness or kindness. And this is the basic premise that I am very willing to take into account. And she argues that self-actualization is only possible in a state that is in modern times referred to as the flow state. And obviously a lot of people have taken this term and appropriated it and used it incorrectly, used it inappropriately. But the flow state is something that a lot of people in different cultures have practiced and experienced and shared with the rest of us. So the flow state is when you're so engrossed in whatever you're doing that you forget about everything else, right? You kind of get a little bit of a tunnel vision for some time. You are so engrossed in that process, you become a part of that process, and it's a beautiful moment. And this is when you're going to experience that unity, and this is how self-actualization is going to happen. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people will mistaken this state with something else. You can have a great emotional experience that may be very similar to a flow state, but it is the goals that differ. When you are in a self-actualization type of a flow state, this is not you. It's not about you as a person and what you do. It is about the deed, the object at hand, the other person you're engaging with. This is going to be your goal, right? So, for example, if you're watching a performance on stage and a person is in the flow state, in the state of self-actualization, they're seeking to express some kind of beautiful truth. They're seeking to obviously be graceful and beautiful. They're seeking to bring something good to the people. They want to benefit the people. They want their performance to enhance these other people's lives. So this process is going to then focus on this performer doing the best they can do and performing amazingly, but not for the sake of their own ego, not for the sake of their own self-expression. They're going to do this for the sake of that process. The process itself is going to guide them, and it is going to be visible to other people. People are going to sense that. They're going to be like, whoa, this is amazing. Look at this person. They're so beautiful. They're so amazing. And it's the process that makes them beautiful and amazing. When this person sits still then and stops their performance, it's going to be just a person. Maybe some people are going to consider them beautiful. Maybe some people won't. Maybe some people will be arguing about how truthful their statement was, etc., etc. All of these can be dissected later, discussed later. But during that time, during that process of that performance that this person did on stage, if they had dedicated themselves to these three core tenets, whatever you want to call them, to these three principles, this is going to be visible and it's going to be felt and experienced by the vast majority of the audience. Some people may not be able to experience it due to various reasons. If you're interested, we can talk more about this later. But when a person does the exact same thing, they do a performance. They're amazing at it, right? Their technique is amazing, but they're doing it for the purpose of the ego, because they want to showcase how great they are. Look at them. They're such an amazing performer. This is also going to be visible. They may be very, very similar to that first performer I just gave you an example of, but you will be able to notice the difference if you have experience with self-actualization yourself, if you have witnessed a lot of people self-actualizing in similar arts or in similar areas. You are going to be able to tell that this person is performing out of a place of ego. It's going to still be beautiful. It's going to still be something to admire. It may even communicate some truths. It may even bring some benefit. But this goal ultimately is going to later, maybe sooner, who knows, stop this person from being able to fully enjoy and engage with that process. Because as soon as not the process itself and not the self-actualization are the priorities, when it's your pride, when it's your desire to be right, desire to be seen as beautiful, to be perceived as beautiful is your priority, then it creates disunity, lack of unity. It creates that conflict. It creates a contradiction, and then it's going to be resolved. Whether you like it or not, you may be able to overcome that contradiction yourself. And this is what dialectics is all about. It's about the overcoming of the contradictions. Dialectics don't want to break nothing. We want to overcome the contradictions. And to overcome the contradictions, we're going to need truth, beauty, and kindness and goodness of our hearts and of our minds. So I'm very excited to continue reading this book. Let me know what you think. I hope you have a great day today. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Do take care of yourself and your community first. Subscribe to me on all the social medias, even though I don't do much there. And I'll talk to you sometime later.